that people think that you can do work 100% and you can do life 100%. It's easy to burn out when all you do is do. If anything, you better double down on what you're doing.
Facts.
You better do it more and harder and better. You don't have to be anything else than who you are. And you can be loved just as you are. It's not about the destination, but it's about the person that I'll become as I go through this journey.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. I'm Raissa and we have...
And I'm Gloria, and today we have a special guest.
And her name is Linda Foinding. She is a community leader, inspirational public speaker, a certified high-performance leadership coach from Brown University, one of the oldest Ivy League universities, and she has a decade of experience as a database engineer. She's also the founder of Amazingly Africa, where she's dedicated to empowering BIPOC, for those who don't know, is Black, Indigenous, and people of color, particularly women and youth, to strive in their professional world. Her initiative, Afro Girls Tech, focuses on digital inclusion and addresses the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. Linda has presided over several boards, including the U.S. Fund of UNICEF at Lynn University, where she attended her BS, and she's the junior board of the Washington Performance Act. Linda has also fostered dialogues between Africa and its diaspora through her podcast, Umoja Session. The podcast highlights the stories of entrepreneurs and facilitates the discussion of social cultural issues. Help us welcome Ms. Linda.
Yes.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Thank you for
You're
having me.
officially the first woman that we have on the pod. So let's clap it up for
Can't
that.
believe.
Yes.
I'm excited.
And
Cheers to more women.
Yes, and I actually know you personally. We went to school together, so I'm excited to get a chance to interview you today and learn more about what you do. And also, that was a very impressive bio.
It was.
Yeah, I didn't even know all of that about you. I'm like, wow.
I was like reading and
Yeah.
reading and reading. I was like, this is endless.
And this is
a
my
lot.
short bio.
Oh my. So yeah, Linda, you have a lot of like accomplishments and you've been doing really great, especially as a young woman in tech. So I wanted to know, like, what inspired you to get into tech?
What inspired me to get into tech? I had to take you back a few years.
Take us back.
So I'm originally from Cameroon, West Africa, and I came here as an immigrant to go to university. And as you know, immigrant parents only want you to do one of three jobs. Either you're a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. So I went to school for pre-medicine. So the goal was to become a doctor, and I promised my father I would come back and be a full-fledged doctor. As I went to school, although I excelled in my studies, I realized that it wasn't my passion. And doing something that was so critical as, you know, literally having people's lives in your hands and you're not passionate about it, I felt like even if I was good at it, at some point, it would be too easy to make a mistake. And a mistake like that could be critical. Detrimental. So I started looking at other things, trying to pivot, learning different things. I did a double major in international relations. I started learning SQL while I was at school. I did a few internships, and that's how I landed into tech. My first internship, they wanted me to, do some, how do you call that? Transcribing. And then at some point they were like, oh, we have a database. I need you to do this. And then they brought up a terminal. So there were so many different things. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah.
So I started learning a bit more. And then they trained me and they certified me. So that's how I became a junior engineer, database engineer. And then from there, my career just kept expanding. And that's how I'm a lead engineer now.
Wow.
Nice.
Lead database engineer. Wow. So apart from that, the next thing that we read in your bio was that you're on the board, you've served as a board on, and these are like impressive organizations. How did you get to that role? How did you become a member of those boards?
I think for example, U.S. funds for UNICEF, that was while I was still in college.
Okay.
It actually came about as a reaction. I realized that I was just in school, but I had all of these. So I had the opportunity to go to New York for an internship, and it was at the United Nations. And I was able to lead a team of about 20 students from around the world. And it was like a week-long conference. And it was during that time that I got acquainted with different organizations that the United Nations worked with. And I really felt something towards UNICEF and children and helping kids. And so when I went back to my university, I realized that we didn't have a chapter, but other universities had chapters of UNICEF. So I decided to start it. Wow. So I was the founder and the president. I created a board. I got a vice president, a treasurer, a secretary, all of that. It was a big endeavor.
That sounds like a big project.
But at the time, I didn't see it as that. It was just something that I had to do. It was like, oh, you want to create this? Okay, so you need this. And I just started speaking to people who had done it, and and there was actually the CEO of UNICEF who came to speak at our university at some point. Wow. She had a book, and I spoke to her about it, and she actually encouraged me. So it was like, that's how that happened. Long story short for that. And then for being on a junior board, that actually came about when I moved to DC. I felt like I wanted to do a bit more. Initially, I was working with the African Union. So I was part of like their youth initiative. And then I felt like I wasn't doing enough for the community, but also for myself. Like I wanted work-life balance. Yes. I love music. I love the arts. And that's how I landed on Washington Performing Arts. And their CEO, Jenny Bealfield, is amazing. She's literally a mentor to me now. And that's how it happened. Yeah.
Perfect. And is the UNICEF board that you started at your school, is that still carried on?
Yeah. That's so good.
Wow. So up to now, there's
a legacy, and we still have I'm excited about that.
Amazing. That's great. Amazing. So you mentioned work-life balance. How do you actually maintain a good work-life balance?
You can never be at 100%, right? Like I feel like there's this myth that people think that you can do work 100% and you can do life 100%. I'm grateful that I'm able to pour my all in my career right now because I don't have any children. But at some point, that's where it has to come in. Even without kids, and I find myself, like when I'm done at 5 p.m., like I'm extremely tired, but I have projects that I want to work on. I have goals and dreams outside of my career, and it's like, how do I feel myself? How do I feel my soul? And so it has to deal with creating time for myself, right? Like choosing me, whether it's, literally putting it in my calendar that before 9 a.m. and after 5 p.m., my time. I call it my time. Like my 5 to 9 is also like just as important as my 9 to 5. Yeah. So I really make it a plan, and I say, okay, I'm gonna do this after work, or I'm gonna do that, or I'm just gonna chill, right? Like this, I want to unwind, I want to relax, maybe I want a bubble bath, or I want a nice home cooked meal with a glass of wine. So it's really about what feeds your soul, because at some point I felt like I was on go, one project after the other. You read my bio, it's like this and this and this, but it's like it's easy to burn out when all you do is do. Yes. Sometimes you just have to be and just sit and relax and enjoy your own company.
Yes.
I love that. So you mentioned the 5 to 9. Can you, for people that may not know, like what does the 5 to 9 mean exactly? For people that may, people know 9 to 5, but some people.
So your 9 to 5 is the time that you give to your job, right? Like your 5 to 9 is the time that you give to yourself. And I call that me time. Like it's my time. It's the projects I'm working on. It's the book I'm writing. It's whether you go to the gym in the morning or in the afternoon. It's, family time, right? Like some people are done at 5. Maybe they go and eat and they do something, and then they log back in at like 8 or 9.
Okay.
right? That's time stolen away from you because you're not being paid for that time. I'm sorry.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if you can, make sure to work during the block of time that you're being paid for, that's great. Obviously, there are times where maybe you're in a sprint. There's a lot going on. You have to work past that time. But don't make it a habit because I found myself doing that for maybe a year and I was burnt out. And when I say burnt out, I meant I didn't want to do anything after that. I just wanted to binge watch TV mindlessly and go to sleep. And that's not a life. That means your whole life, your whole soul is given to your job and not to yourself. So I started pouring back into me. So that's the 9 to 5. That's what I call the 9 to 5. The 5 to 9.
Yes, perfect.
5 to 9.
That's a really good example. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So talking about all of that, what is something that you've had to overcome in your journey, in your career, and even as a leader, right? And how did you handle it?
So many things.
Where
can I start?
One.
I don't know, okay, maybe the
so
most,
many things.
I don't know, what's the most recent thing?
Yeah. So recently, and I was telling you guys about this before we started recording. So at my job, I've realized that, and it's something that maybe a lot of women or men can experience, is if you are working with leaders or teammates who don't have your back.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you feel like you're a target at work. And it's, come to their attention that I have a life outside of work, that I have a full resume outside of work. And my supervisors kind of try to make it a problem and say that I'm not supposed to be doing these activities. You mentioned Amazingly Africa and Afro Girls Tech and being a career and life coach outside of work and having a YouTube channel.
Right.
And, I was made to feel like, there's a conflict of interest, there's X, Y, and Z. You're not supposed to do that. So the thing is, I don't know if it's my supervisor, but I know that he told me that I was reported to HR for my activities outside of work. And you know what I did?
That's crazy.
What did you do?
Instead of buckling and being like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to close everything. I wrote an email. And yes, ChatGPT is your friend.
Yeah.
I asked ChatGPT to help me elevate this email. And really asked ChatGPT, hey, am I outside of the bounds of this conflict of interest thing, and so we wrote an email together and I CC'd the people who were involved in the activities that they mentioned. Like they mentioned Afro Girls Tech, right? I had a 2-day workshop where I was helping women land their dream job in tech. And one of the speakers was the dean at like a really great Ivy League university, and I CC'd him in there. I CC'd my professor, one of my professors in my high performance leadership coaching training certification that I did. I CC'd her. I CC'd a lot of people that I know at HR at my work. And you know what they said?
What did they
I
say?
sent the email and they were like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is not right. You have done nothing wrong. If anything, your work outside of work is commendable. It's not something that you should be punished for.
I know that's right.
Wow.
So the case isn't closed yet.
Yeah.
But that is an example of a challenge that I've had to go through. And, I didn't buckle down. I know Linda of 5 years ago would have been scared.
Yes.
Would have been like, oh, okay, I guess I did something wrong. Okay. But instead, I used my network, my friends, the people that I had around me, and the tools at my disposal. That's called prompt engineering.
Right.
Literally, I am in tech, so I used my own tools, and I realized that I am doing nothing wrong. If anything, whoever, and this is something that one of my colleagues told me, she was like, I don't know who the hell has the time
to go look you up.
But guess what? That person is obviously threatened by you. and it means you're doing something right. If anything, you better double down on what you're doing.
Facts.
You better do it more and harder and better because you're doing something right, and that's why you're having haters. So
if you ain't got
this
haters,
thing,
you ain't popping.
so this haters thing is
They're
real.
dropping lines. They're dropping
These people
bars.
are trying to affect my money.
They are. We won't let that happen though.
But it's good because you're able to share with people what to do when you are in situations where you're being persecuted.
And that's the importance of having friends, of having a network, of having people around you. Like, it's not just your immediate colleagues. You need to be involved with people in different departments, people who know different things and who will help you immediately. And some of them are just my friends, literally. They called me. They were like, are you okay? Do you need something?
Wow.
Even if it's not, and I felt supported. I felt like, okay, I'm not alone in this. Yeah. So that's a recent challenge, and it's been tough, but at the same time, I'm proud of myself because if it reached y'all's ears, even though I only have like over 500 followers on YouTube, I don't know if it reached your ears already. Okay,
someone is
I don't
watching
even
it.
have 100,000 or 1 million yet. What you gonna do then?
The silent watchers, silent haters.
But I like the fact that you're able to share this and also like provide what you did in your situation. So knock on wood, everything goes in your favor, honestly.
Everything will be fine.
Because you're doing great. So you mentioned your younger self, right? 5 years ago, you would have been a little scared. So what advice would you give your younger self?
In this situation or in general?
In general, if you were to go back in time, like when you were maybe 24, 25.
Worried about life, unsure.
I would say focus on you, Linda. Focus on yourself. I feel like as women, especially women of color, women of African backgrounds, we're always told to sacrifice ourselves, to do for others, to make everybody else comfortable at your own detriment. I am a recovering people pleaser, and I can say that out loud because I went through the coaching, through the therapy needed to realize that the coping mechanisms I had didn't come from a place of power, but it came from a place of fear, where you felt like you had to make people comfortable so that you didn't feel, even if it made you feel uncomfortable, so that you didn't feel, so that it made you feel safe.
Yeah, so that you were not a problem to others. Others will feel comfortable around you.
But guess what?
What?
When you do that, it keeps bottling up and bottling up and bottling up, and then at some point you explode. And you may not explode in a productive way, in a way that's healthy, right? And so I would say to my younger self, focus on you, focus on what you need, and focus on not just your career, but also your friends, your family, the people around you. Like, life isn't just about work and doing. You're good enough just as you are. You don't have to be anything else than who you are. Wow. And you can be loved just as you are. So that's what I would tell her.
I love that.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, tell us.
Deep, right? She took a little breath right there.
It was. And I think that leads a little bit to my question. With your new endeavors, right? Whether it's, your Renaissance series that you're doing, I'm sure the book you're writing. How are you, tell us about a time when you really had to be vulnerable as a leader and, as a coach, because people have to see through you to resonate with you.
Gosh.
Vulnerability is not easy.
So
take a deep breath. It's okay.
No.
I'm not gonna cry, but I hope not. Actually,
no.
I don't know.
We don't
if
have,
I cry,
we don't
it's
have
fine.
napkins or tissues here.
If I cry, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm still gonna look cute.
Yes, you will. You will.
A time I had to be vulnerable. So last year, this thing, first of all, of coaching didn't come from anywhere. This Renaissance era and designing your dream life. It came from a place of, I went through a period of, some people call it, I don't know, dark night of the soul where like you're going through a lot and it's just back to back. So last year I lost my father.
My condolences.
Thank you. I lost my dad. He was a big proponent in my life. The reason why I'm the resume that you just listed, it's because of my parents. They not even pushed me, they encouraged me, and they gave me access to things that I know a lot of people in Cameroon or even here don't have. And losing him was a big shock. It was hard, very hard. And at the same time, I was going through a friendship breakup. I had just turned 30. It just felt like all of these things were happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that's where this need to glow up and elevate and really, but first look inside came from, because I realized that I can't do this on my own. So I lost my dad when I was starting the program of certifying myself as a high performance leadership coach. And I had applied the year before. I didn't know that I was going to lose my father. So as I was doing it, I had to be so vulnerable. I had to be in the coachee seat. I had to be coached, and I had to open myself up to my instructors, to other people in my cohort, and then writing the book at the same time. I had started writing the book 2 years ago prior to that. And when I lost my dad, it was hard for many months. And then around fall of last year, like around my birthday, which coincides with his birthday too, I realized that it would be a great gift to him if I finished the book. And it was a motivation for me to write the book and finish the book and dedicate the book to him.
He knew you were writing the book?
He knew I was writing the book, but he didn't know the extent to what it was. Like, he had seen my documentaries, he had seen all these things, but he didn't really know. Like, I wasn't really telling him a lot about it, and I wish I had. But so those were moments where I had to be vulnerable. I had to open up and realize that I can't be high performing and also be sad. Like, it's just not gonna work. I tried. I was working, I was trying to forget about it, but at some point I would crash. Like, I would, and then I would go like maybe days without, like, I'm a super clean person, for example. I would let the dishes pile up. I wouldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't. Mentally, I wasn't
sad,
there.
You're not.
Physically, I just wasn't there. But at the same time, I had things to do. And I felt like the world was evolving, and I was stuck. I was being stagnant. And that's part of grief. Like, grief isn't linear. It's not going to be go, go, go. It's like, it's circular. Maybe you'll come back and have that feeling again, but maybe you'll deal with it differently. So I had to learn to deal with my grief and also continue living life. So it took a while for me to realize that my dad would be proud of me if I continued, if I didn't give up, but if I also took care of myself in the process. The world will not stop if I don't publish my book in 2024 the way I wanted to. The world will not stop if, all of these things. So, yeah, and that's where this glow up thing came from. Like, people talk about glowing up and leveling up, and it sounds so vain, but
tell us
there's
a little bit
so
more
much
about it. So what is the glow up? What is it?
Glowing up is not about the physical thing. Yes, the physical appearance is important, right? But it's about internally. It's about identifying your values. Like, what is your why? Why are you doing the things you do? Why is this important to you? And who are the people around you that you trust, that you love, right? And I realized, like, that's why I started this Designing Your Dream Life series on YouTube, because I felt like I was at a point where I needed that. Like, I did it for myself. Like, I realized that I needed to be more intentional about my life, to look at the things that I loved, about the way that I felt. It wasn't anymore about ticking these boxes off on a resume, getting this job, getting this blah, blah, blah. It was more about, like, feeding my soul. And I realized that, all of these self-help books that I read, they were all written by, Caucasian males. And they're all like, wake up at 5 a.m., go do 100 push-ups and do all of these things. But it's like, bruh, we have different lives. Like there's nuance to this. People come from different backgrounds, like, and they're going through different things. You can't, it's not a one size fits all thing.
That's true.
So it was very much like doing this inner work of the soul. And I talk about that in my book, of the fact that I needed that for myself, because everywhere I looked, it was too superficial. I was going through grief. People don't talk about grieving and crying and having to wake up and going to the gym. Like, why would I do that?
That's the last thing you're thinking
and
about.
having to go to work and deal with, managers and supervisors or colleagues that are being like super annoying, right? And at the same time, you're crying. Like, it's deep. It's deeper than that. It's life. Like, so it's like I needed to find a way to still live, but also honor my grief, honor what I was going through, and honor my journey, because I know that, it's not about the destination, but it's about the person that I'll become as I go through this journey. So that's what this Designing My Dream Life is about. It's about, spiritually, who am I? What do I want? Emotionally, what do I need? Socially, what do I need from my friends? What can I give? I'm a big giver in friendships, and I need friends who are equally in that sense. Career and finance. What do I need to live the life of my dreams, where I don't want, where I can be financially easy. It's not about getting $1 million. It's like, what is the amount of money that I need to feel like I'm good, I'm fine, and same thing physically. All of that doesn't work if you're not healthy.
Exactly.
So it's like what you eat,
Yeah.
what you drink, who you speak to, your environment, and yes, going to the gym is part of it. So it's sort of like this holistic way of living. So that's what Designing Your Dream Life is. That's what this Renaissance season is about for me. It's my Renaissance. It's like the next level of Linda.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's why I decided to document that.
Period.
Hey, that's good. You don't look like what you've been through. Yeah.
You never need to. Don't show people what you're going
Never.
through. Unless they're your friends, your family, yes, you have to be vulnerable with them. But you see these haters that I'm talking about? If I showed up at work looking like they're affecting me, then they'll feel like they won.
Right. So you mentioned your dad being an inspiration to you, right? And also the program you went through, the coaches that you've had. Do you actively have any mentors in your life? And how are they helping you in your journey towards your dream life?
I have so many mentors. I have mentors in different parts of my life. Like I have coaching mentors, I have career mentors, I have life mentors, I have sisters and brothers and aunts and uncles. But I make it a point to connect with people who are doing and living the life that I want.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm not going to ask a cook how to start a multi-million-dollar business. I will ask the person who has started and is successful in the multi-million-dollar business. But also...
Success leave clues.
Yeah. And I have online mentors, people who have never met me, but I've watched every single one of their videos. I've read every single one of their books, and I learn from them. So, I do have mentors. It's important to have what I would call is a board of advisors.
Exactly.
So, like, instead of, and I talk about this in my book, so it's coming up.
Okay.
Instead of, like, I felt like I was walking through life as an intern in my own life, instead of being the boss, the CEO of my own life. And when you're the boss, the CEO of your own life, you make executive decisions. You look at the pros and cons, and you make swift decisions, and you are slow to changing those decisions. And before making those decisions. You speak to the people, the marketing, the sales team, the finance team, the accounting team.
Operations.
Right. So, and that's actually one of my mentors who taught me that it's important to have a mosaic of mentors. That's what he calls it. And he was like, you need to have people in your life who can help you in various aspects of your life. You know, you can't have this one mentor be your end all be all. And you can't ask your best friend to be your end all be all, or your boyfriend, right? Like, they have a specific role in your life, and you can't ask them to do all of these things for you that they can't even do for themselves. So it's important to have that. Yeah.
So
I believe in that too. What you just mentioned, having multiple mentors for different areas of your life. So I think that's one thing that whoever is watching this should really retain, because what Linda is saying is true. You can't rely on one person to help you with all areas of
It's
life.
overwhelming for them.
Yeah.
And then you're going to resent them and blame them if they don't come through for you.
That's true.
But it's like, they can't.
Yeah. So it's a great thing to have like mentors, but for someone watching, right, let's say they're like, okay, well, that's cool. How does the mentorship work? Is there a financial cost to it? If so, how would someone manage it? Because some of these mentors that we have, the coaches, they charge. You know, they charge per session. They charge to coach you. And to have these different people can be costly.
Right. So we're talking about two different things. You're talking about coaches and mentors. Mentors are free.
Okay.
Mentors are wherever you find yourself, whether you're in school and you had a professor where you really connected with, that professor can be your mentor, right? And then coaching is different, right? Like coaching is somebody who can be your mentor, but different, because coaches don't mentor you, they don't advise you. Coaches are there to guide you, right? Like, as a coach, I always tell my coachees that you already have everything in you to reach the goal, the achievement, be the person you want to be. I'm just here to guide you, to be your sage, your sensei, to help you get there, to help you draft that roadmap. But it's up to you to do that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I actually got your ebook. Congratulations on your
Thank
ebook.
you. I'm so glad.
And it's called Designing Your Dream Life and Becoming Your Best Self, right?
Yes.
So I got a couple of valuable tips as well from the ebook. So I wanted to know, I feel like you've already touched on that when you mentioned your background and your story and what led you to, doing the Renaissance and designing all of the books that you're creating right now. So I just wanted to know, anybody that's watching out here, how can they actually follow you and purchase, your ebooks so they can become the best version of themselves as well?
Yeah. So if you want to follow me, first of all, go on YouTube at Amazingly Africa. That's where you'll find me. And also Instagram, you can find me at LindaFoinding_. And on TikTok as well, but don't go to TikTok. TikTok is just the fun stuff. And in order for my ebook, so I launched my ebook last month in March. It's been an amazing journey to see actually a physical product finally. So you can find that at lindafoinding.kit.com, I believe. But if you go on any of my social media channels, you'll find a link to my ebook, whether it's my YouTube or my Instagram. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Linda. We appreciate you for coming.
Thank you. Wow, that was so quick.
Yes. Is there anything you would want to share?
Yes. Any final words that you would like to share before we wrap up?
I would say this. I said that it's important to focus on you. Yes. Right? And I think I'm a big proponent on that. And I think the last word I would say is find your why. Figure out what are your values, what's important to you. And that will help be your North Star. That will help guide you through the challenges that you go through your dips, your highs and lows, because sometimes when you're really low, you feel like nothing will work for you, or when you're really high, you think everything is fine. And so having that North Star will help you be steady, right? It will help you, just like a captain of a ship, right? Like you have your map and there's that destination, right? Wherever you go, you know your why, right? And that why will be bigger than any obstacle. It will be bigger than anything that you're going through. And it'll help you to not give up, to keep trusting yourself. And I would say find mentors, find coaches, find advisors, find therapists who are there for you, who will guide you. It's important. Find that community, right? And if you can't find it, go on YouTube and, you know, read those books, because there's always somewhere that you can start.
Thank you, Coach Linda. So if you're watching this, let us know in the comments, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? All right?
And if you have not found it yet, you know, be sure to reach out to Coach Linda to help you discover that why. Okay?
I'll do my best.
You.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. We're so happy to have had Linda here. We hope you guys learned something. We hope this was valuable information. Feel free to subscribe, follow us on our different channels, our platform, follow Linda, comment, leave a thumbs up, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.